You know, when you look at modern football, it really feels like the top academies are basically laboratories. They're meticulously building players, designing them to fit a specific system. But once in a while, a player comes along who just breaks the mold. Someone who plays on pure, raw instinct. And that right there is the story of Arda Güler.
And this quote from Breaking the Lines, man, it just nails it. It perfectly captures what makes him so special. Güler isn't some product that rolled off an assembly line. He's more like a force of nature out there. The reason his game is so exciting, so unpredictable, is because it feels like it hasn't been coached out of him.
So with a style that electrifying, you better believe he got a nickname fast, the Turkish Messi. And it really didn't take long for that kind of raw talent to get every single major club in Europe watching him. His flair was just impossible to ignore.
And we're not just talking about skills you can learn from running drills with cones. These are instincts. His dribbling is this beautiful blur of deception. He has this sixth sense for passes that nobody else on the field can see, and his brain just seems to work a split second faster than everyone else's. It's that untamed, natural feel for the game that makes him so dangerous.
And his rise was just meteoric. Seriously, look at this. He's at a local academy in 2014, and by 2019, he's already been scouted and signed by a giant like Fenerbahçe. 3 years later, he's their youngest goal scorer in league history, and by 2023, bam, he's signing a contract with Real Madrid. It was an absolute whirlwind.
Okay, so signing for Real Madrid, that's the dream, right? The absolute pinnacle for any player. But for Güler, the fantasy of playing at the Bernabeu was immediately slammed with a harsh, brutal reality that was going to test everything he had.
And let's be clear, Real Madrid put down some serious cash for him, 20 million euros. This wasn't some, low-risk flyer on a young prospect. This was a major investment. It was them saying, we believe this kid is the real deal, right from day one.
But instead of getting to prove it on the pitch, his first season was just an absolute nightmare of setbacks. First, a bad meniscus injury puts him on the shelf for 2 months. He finally gets back, and what happens? He immediately picks up a muscle injury. He recovers from that, and then another one. It was just relentless, one thing after another. And when you add it all up, you get this. 148 days. That is almost 5 full months on the sidelines. For a teenager, in a new country, at the biggest club in the entire world, I mean, you can't imagine the kind of mental and physical mountain he had to climb.
But this is where the story pivots. Because true talent, that raw, untamed quality that we've been talking about, you just can't keep it down forever. You can't suppress it. His moment was coming.
Okay, get ready for this, because the numbers here are just insane. When he finally got a consistent run of games, he scored 6 goals in only 373 minutes of La Liga play. That's a goal every 62 minutes. To put that in perspective, another amazing young talent, Lamine Yamal at Barcelona, scored 5 goals in over 2,000 minutes. For a midfielder to be that efficient, it's just mind-blowing.
So he'd done it at the club level. But could he do it under the bright lights of a huge international tournament? That was the big question. And this quote from The Guardian just sets the scene perfectly. Everyone knew what he could do, but nobody knew if he could do it now. Well, the whole world was about to find out at Euro 2024.
And boy, did he answer that question. He didn't just show up, he took over. He became the first teenager to score on his Euro debut since some guy named Cristiano Ronaldo. He actually broke Ronaldo's record as the youngest ever to do it. Then he goes and gets a massive assist in a knockout game and steps up to lead the team. He didn't just play on the big stage, he owned it.
So, okay, he's a star, he's arrived. So what's next? Well, now the conversation is shifting to his evolution as a player, because his journey's far from over, and it looks like it might involve a pretty fascinating change in where he plays on the field for Real Madrid.
And honestly, none of this would have been possible without his incredible self-belief. Just listen to his own words. From the first training session, I knew I had the qualities to play here. I never doubted I would succeed. That's it right there. That's the mental strength that gets you through 148 days on the sidelines and lets you shine the second you get a chance.
This all leads to a really interesting tactical question, right? We've seen him cook on the wing, but with that kind of vision and decision-making, is his real long-term future deeper, in the middle of the park pulling the strings? It's a real possibility. And now that Xabi Alonso is the new coach at Madrid, there are some pretty strong signs that this is exactly the plan.
And I mean, who better to learn from? He's getting a masterclass from one of the greatest midfielders of his generation. Alonso's advice is really clear. Think ahead of the play. Don't just react to it.
Get your positioning right so you win the ball earlier. And maybe most importantly, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because that's how you grow. It's the perfect roadmap for him.
All right, so we've seen the raw talent, we've seen the brutal trial by fire, the explosive breakthrough, and the plan for his evolution. So the question is simple. What does the future really hold for football's untamed talent?
Well, if you want to see his impact in black and white, just look at the money. He goes from that €20 million transfer fee in 2023, and now there are already reports of €100 million offers on the table. In just a couple of years, his value on the market has just exploded, all because of what he's done on the pitch.
And believe me, it is not a secret. Every big club in the world is watching him. We're talking Arsenal, Liverpool, Bayern, Manchester United, the whole lot. Real Madrid knows they have a genuine gem on their hands, and so does the rest of Europe.
And that really leaves us with this one last fascinating question to think about. After everything he's overcome, after proving himself on the biggest stages, are we looking at a generational talent who has already arrived? Or is this untamed prodigy, this diamond that's still being polished by Xabi Alonso, just getting started?